welcome, everyone. Wanted to welcome you to my first episode of my Visions to Ventures, where I talk about. Well, this one I really wanted to make it where I can have a guest come in and just give us the insight of their business, how they started, how kind of like some setbacks, any issues that they had in the beginning, and just to see where they're currently at and also what lies ahead for them. But I also wanted to first also start off by just saying how I kind of started all my ventures, these ideas that I just kind of as I'm going and growing, sharing and also just connecting with other people, whether it be entrepreneurs or just anyone that really has an idea that really they want to be able to make it grow. They don't know where to start. And so a little background for me, I started off with my CJO Digital, which is my marketing and marketing company, where I just wanted to see, hey, it started when I was talking to some friends, and as I were communicating, we're like, hey, really would be good if we need someone who does a website, who can market my company. And I'm like, yeah, just go ahead and start off with the website. Do you have a website? No, I don't have a website. Don't know how to start that. And so it all started off with me just kind of with my father-in-law's website. And I'm like, hey, let me build this website for you. Let's book appointments on there. This will go ahead and help your business grow. So I was like, hey, went ahead and did it, and it was a bit of a challenge, just trying to figure out new things, how to build this website. And I started, I took me a bit, I think it was at least a month of a process where I was trying to figure out on my own how to build this website. And as I was building the website, I realized, hey, I actually something I really love doing, and just seeing how bringing someone's idea to life, coming the branding of it, the whole colors, the logos. So that's how it kind of just started. And then from there, I'm like, hey, I finished my father-in-law's website, and I'm all right. Well, what else do you need? Do you have a social media account? Do you have what social media account do you have? And he's like, well, I only have Facebook. And I'm like, well, let's create an Instagram account. And then when I did the Instagram account, I'm like, hey, with this Instagram account, it has to be separate from your personal. You can't just be posting pictures of your families on this one at the moment. Just kind of start off to kind of let everyone know, hey, this is my business account. This is what I want to do. So as I'm building his social media accounts, I'm like, okay, this is we need to start a a routine where we can make posts, like I told him, record, just document all that you do during the day, show your work, the before and after. Since he has to do with carpet cleaning, I'm like, hey, just when you go in there, just take pictures, do videos, and then just go ahead and just start. If you have a GoPro, if you don't, even a cell phone, someone, if you have a coworker that can record for you. Someone just you can show the type of work that you do. And so that was what kind of led me to, I'm like, okay, so now I got the social media account, I got the website, what else can I do? And then one time I was just laying down in bed, and I'm like, I woke up and I told my wife, hey, I want to be able to create something with the 3D printer. I wasn't sure exactly what. I was like, I just need to get a 3D printer. And so I decided to go ahead and purchase one. I'm like, hey, at this time, money wasn't really coming in. I was still doing some works for free, trying to get that ball rolling, trying to get more, grow my skills, grow my everything that I could possibly get to where I need to be, where I wanted to be, So I bought that 3D printer. It came, and I'm like, what do I do? How do I print something, And I noticed that there was companies that were selling digital business card, and I noticed that they were charging about $80 up to $100, kind of just depending. I'm like, well, how are they doing this digital business card? So I went online. I'm like, this at the moment right now, like you probably noticed that there's QR codes are like the big thing. Everywhere they're posting QR codes. I see some home builders posting a QR code just so people can either submit a form to get more information or just to view the layouts. So I'm like, all right, I need to do something with this QR code. So then I started and I looked and I'm like, hey, I can do these keychains. I can do these QR codes. And it wasn't easy. I started off with printing in all white because I'm like, I wasn't sure exactly where to start. And then in order for the QR codes to work, I'm like, well, now they have to be black. And so or some different color that your camera can read. So then I printed them out, and I was, after they were done, I grabbed a Sharpie and I just started going over it. And it wasn't the best work, but I was like, hey, this is my first test run. And honestly, I used up a lot of the filament, which is the plastic that melts down and creates a QR code, the 3D print. So I'm like going through it a lot, and I finally messing it up. I didn't know how to level the bed of the 3D print. It was just, I was starting. And so from that, I learned, okay, I need to level the bed. I need to make sure the software is good. And so I created my first 3D print. And it was for my home Wi-Fi, where I was thinking, I have, friends and family come in and they're like, hey, what's your Wi-Fi password? What's your Wi-Fi username, And I'm like, well, and then I'm like, oh, some people, even noticed too. They're like, oh, let me see your phone. I'll type it in for you. Or even now with the iPhones, what they like to do is that they just like to, you're able to share the code right away, but not everyone has an iPhone. So I'm like, well, I want to be able to create something that works with Android phones, Samsung, Google. And so I created this 3D print that was able to, you scan it and then you're able to log into that, that person's, the homeowner's Wi-Fi. Well, of course, if the homeowner gives you the permission, So I created that. I started. And then I'm like, well, how can I make this, different? I see people have the QR code, but I want to be able to add something to it. So then I saw online, and I'm like NFCs, and I keep seeing NFCs, RFID, which is the radio frequency identification was the RFID, and then NFC is a near field communication. So. And it's just these little tags that you can buy from Amazon. And so I included that into my QR code, and it worked. You're able to scan, you're able to tap. And so I'm like, all right, cool. This is something that's interesting, So then I was able to include those together. And then eventually I realized, okay, my 3D printer, I need to be able to pause and print so I can go ahead and change the color of the filaments of the plastic, that goes inside the 3D printer. So as I'm doing my research, I realized that I need to do a software update on my 3D print. And so I went online, downloaded that. It wasn't a success the first time. I had to reflash the software again because it just wasn't working. It wasn't loading. I actually even broke my 3D printer for a bit, trying to figure out what to do. So I was able to fix that issue, and then I had it where I could do a pause print, and then it can just go and add that during those pause print, which is like a minute or two, add that NFC into the QR code. And that's kind of how I started with that second from my CJO Digital to these 3D prints. And then from there, I'm like, for me, I like to figure things out. If I don't know, I like to kind of, what can I do? What else can be helpful and just good for me to learn? So once I finish the 3D prints, I'm all right, what's next? And then the next thing I was like, okay, I want to be able to start a podcast. I want to be able to start a podcast with my friend, something that him and I can like just talk about. And I didn't know where to start with that either. I'm like, okay, first of all, I don't know how to edit videos. I don't know how to do the audio. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to start. I don't know what microphone I need to get, And so I just typed in, microphones for podcasts. And the first one that came in was the Rode microphone. And I'm all right, well, let's see how it goes. And let's see how this audio works. Let's see where I need to upload it eventually. As I'm like, eventually I'll get there. And so I bought the microphone. My buddy, he brought the arm with the mesh, just to help out with the audio. And instead of carrying the microphone, you can just have it there, work with the quality. So as I'm building, okay, I build a podcast and I'm telling him, hey, like, we're gonna post it on Anchor. We're gonna post it on Spotify. Eventually I want to get onto Apple Podcasts, but it's like I said, I'm figuring these things out as I go. So I don't know where to start, but hey, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So we recorded for a podcast and it wasn't easy. I mean, just getting used to seeing the camera, or not even, I mean, when it's someone else, you want to be able to just interact and record the podcast, but just naturally, right? Don't force yourself to kind of be like, hey, we have to look at the camera. We do look at the camera if we want to share something, right? Like, hey, we're talking about like a size of something that, hey, like the size of this pizza that I saw, or just anything like, hey, we're pointing things from behind, or whatever we might have in our hands, and it's totally different from this one as that I'm recording. So it's just, it's why it's crazy. But that one right there helped me out with being able to get comfortable in the camera. It's like right now I'm looking at the camera and just having a conversation like if I would be having it with myself, I guess. That'd sound crazy, but it's and so we recorded for a podcast. I use the audio. And the other thing was like, how do I upload it to YouTube, right? Because I really wanted to get on YouTube. And I had something that I was like, well, I guess when I get to that point, I'll figure it out, So recorded our video, our audio. I uploaded the audios. We eventually got to episode, I think it was like 6 or 7. And, my buddy was like, hey, when are you going to post the videos? I'm like, dude, you have to give me a minute. Like, I don't know exactly where to start with that. Like, I don't know how to edit the videos, And so then I'm like, well, what type of program do I use? And so I have Adobe. So I'm like, oh, I have Adobe Premiere Pro. And so I was like, well, I'll figure this out, And so, I'll go back to the video, but the audio was super simple. Anchor just kind of helps you out, like how to, get it uploaded and kind of the simple things, right? Adding a title, description about it, what season, what episode, is it explicit, So I was able to upload it and share it. And it went up to, as soon as I uploaded on that, then it went directly to Spotify. It was just, learning process. And it was excited to kind of get there. And so I told my buddy, hey, as soon as I get those videos done, like we're going to TikTok, I need you to add your link tree, have it so people can go and view our podcast on through Spotify and also through YouTube, because we want to be able to get those views. And I told him like, hey, and then eventually as we get those videos and everything and we completely get comfortable, we start uploading our videos to TikTok, because TikTok, it's where it's at. If you want to grow your business, that's where you need to start, you will not really start, but you need to eventually get there. Like, it's all document. Like I said at the beginning, you got to document the process. You got to document everything that you do. Instead of like forcing yourself to create content, you're just having that, you're documenting everything. So as you're recording, like you're able, okay, I'm gonna be able to post this on TikTok, and I had issues, it hasn't been perfect where with the camera that I have, sometimes battery dies and I need to go ahead and my battery dies almost towards the end. So then the episode, you get audio and video, and then eventually it's just the audio, I'm like, well, how am I supposed to upload that to TikTok? Because TikTok's not going to take no one is really going to just see a blank screen or something, And so I'm learning, it's a learning process. And so from that, I decided I had to go ahead and buy an extra battery, And then I was like, hey, I want to give some people behind the scenes. I'm going to get myself a tripod for my phone where I can record myself, time lapse, and show people how it is to edit videos, And then that leads me going back again to the video is as I YouTube, I YouTube how to upload YouTube videos on YouTube, so it's just so confusing. But it was eventually I figured out, okay, so like I went to Adobe Premiere, I was able to edit the audio, and at first it was just like I edit the video with the audio from the camera, and it's not perfect, it doesn't sound as clear as it does with this. So first, I think 3 or 4 episodes, it was just the audio from the camera, and I'm like, whatever, I'll eventually get, figure some more things out. As I uploaded those first 4, I realized, it's asking me to do a closed caption. I'm like, well, how do you do closed caption? How do you do this? It was just, I'm like, how do I add that, so then I go back to Adobe, and good thing Adobe was able to have that option where I can create the closed caption, and for people who are unable to hear, they're so able to understand your episode and see it, And so I figured that out. And then as I'm going 5th, 6th, 7th episode, I'm like, wait, I can just use the audio from the podcast audio that I do into the video, where it sounds more clear, crisp, strong, and, just, it's just all around better. And so I did that, I went ahead and figure that out. And as go and view it now, you'll notice that. And the podcast I do with my buddies called Thoughts at the Spot, and you notice how it's progressing, right? And I'm slowly adding more things to it and making it a little bit better for you, the viewers, to be able to see it and see the difference on it. So that's how it started with that. And then as I got those videos uploaded, I told my buddy, hey, it's time to upload those TikToks. We need to be able to market ourselves more, go and get greater views from just like local, right? Because one thing you'll notice with marketing, it's crazy. It's a lot you need to know. You have to keep up with the trends. And as some of you know, is with Instagram, it's usually just your friends that are viewing your content, right? You might get someone who shares it, or as business, simple. One basic thing that people do is like they do sales, like, hey, or like promotions. If you tag 3 of your friends, like if you tag 3 of your friends and they and you comment, you win this prize. It's kind of like a beginning of a marketing that you're able to get more subscribers to your Instagram, and also more traction and people actually viewing the whatever you're trying to show to them. And so, and that's how I started, and then I was like uploading onto my business Instagram, which connected to my Facebook business account. And as I'm learning, I'm like, okay, now I need to also add hashtags, or because you need to make sure whatever it is you're uploading, so if it's a picture of a cat or if it's a video of a home that you're showing, and that has to, if it's a home, you need to say, hey, hashtag Utah real estate, hashtag new homes, hashtag just things that are relevant to the video that you're posting, And this is things that I'm learning as I go, and I wasn't sure exactly where I had to go with this. And so that's kind of how I got to the podcast, the audio, the video, and then finally I figured out how to post my podcast onto Apple Podcasts, because everyone has an iPhone. And so I was able to get it on there, get more views, get more listeners. And that's can clearly help me out a lot, And so from there I went, okay, now that I got the podcast, the TikTok, I was really, one big thing about me is I wanted to, and the other thing is I wanted to be, my wife has these awesome drawings that she does, and I'm like, hey, I want to be able to put this on a journal, put this on a shirt, put this on something that we were able to get for people to buy and purchase, right? Because I really like that art. And so that's another thing that I have to figure out after I finish all the podcasts, the 3D prints, the website. I got to where I'm like, okay, I want to be able to drop ship, if you don't know what drop ship is, this company. So there's plenty of them like Printify, Printful, Shopify, where you upload an image, you upload it to the type of clothing, the type of book, whatever it might be. And you're able to connect it to either an Etsy shop or add it onto your own website. And, if you have Shopify, you create your own website and you ship and it ships that way. If you do Printify, Printful, then it just connects to your Etsy and you're able to ship it from there, And so I created that. I figured out Printify and I'm like, hey, I got to get this ball rolling on there. Did all the learning, late nights, it's one thing you got to know. It's you have to work. You have to stay up late trying to figure these things out. It's not easy, but once you get that going, and it's such an amazing feeling. So I figured out Printify, uploaded my first items, journals, and I realized that I was only being able to print, just add it onto white background because that's kind of like what the image was on. It was on a white background. So then more studying, more trying to figure out how do I just remove the background? How do I make it transparent that I can add it to different colors, And that's just something I just figured out now. And then that's, where my shop has been online for, I think, almost a month, And we're getting sales that's, it's all this. You have to realize that it's connected to what I do, right? To marketing. I have to know how to market so I can help, other businesses grow around me, like friends, family, and just eventually I want to go just not from, Utah out there, different states and even international. But it's just a learning process. You'll never figure everything out. It's just always on the go. Learning. I jump onto webinars. I jump onto videos. I do some networking just to get ideas and talk about what I'm having problems with, that hopefully someone can give me not give me the answer, because I don't want to just know the answer. I want to be able to, hey, like, kind of point me to the right direction and go from there. Like, okay, this is where they told me I need to be. I kind of, it is, helpful, or, hey, like I was able to figure it out, and that's just the whole process. So that's what I did with the dropship. I put the notebooks on there, shirts, cell phone cases, and it's been very helpful. And so then I've been telling myself, hey, I really want to create this business podcast where I share the issues that I had when starting all these ideas, where I'm currently at, and what's kind of my next vision, and what more do I want to be able to do, and so it is kind of has been very helpful. And this now I'm like, hey, I want to be able to invite guests that, because I have friends, realtors, people, friends and family that own their own business, as far as like might be construction, roofing. I have a friend who has his own detailing company, and so I want to be able to bring them in where they can kind of also, share a bit about their company, and be helpful to someone else who has an idea kind of similar, but they want to be able to, they don't know where to start, and it's always, for me, I personally think, like, instead of having someone start from the beginning, right, I want to be able to have someone start in the middle, have someone to, like, be able to, not easy, but kind of explain to them, like, hey, this is if you go down this road, it's going to be harder, right? I've been through it before, so I suggest just going this route. And so I want to be able to make it helpful, so everyone has get into that entrepreneur, mindset where they're like, hey, I had this idea. I was able to see Javier's, podcast, Visions to Ventures, and and it was helpful. It was something that I was able to learn a lot. I want to bring in friends that do shipping themselves. Kind of how do they do it? Where did they start? What were the mistakes? Who do they go through as far as like not, I guess you can say merchandise, but also like their the equipment that you need, the shipping materials, just anything that could be helpful for someone who wants to be able to go down the route, right? Eventually, as instead of like me doing the drop ship through Etsy, I want to be able to add this journals and everything on my own website, or even create a website for my wife where she can just sell her products through there, and cut the middle person, because drop shipping, it takes you get some profit, but it's not as much, right? I had I think the last big purchase was about 10 items, and total came down to about maybe 160, 170. And out of those 160, 170 ones Printify, Etsy took their cut. I think I got about $56, so it's like $100 that were just boom gone. So I want to be able to have that in bulk, have that good quality, like that are in my store, but something that I can ship out myself. So that's kind of the things that I want to be able to share with you all, everyone, and also, even if you don't have like a business, you're not a small business owner, you're not, I want to be able to bring you in and see what's stopping you, what vision you have. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to share my idea because someone can steal it, right? And I heard from can't remember who, I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk, and he said a lot of people that you talk to, you shouldn't be worried about them stealing your ideas, because a lot of people don't execute on those ideas. And it's true. I share a bunch of my ideas to people, and it's been helpful because they tell me, hey, how about instead of going down this route, you go this way? And I'm like, oh, I never actually really thought about that. That's a great idea. And then when I, take their advice, I realize, wow, this just saved me some time, and this is actually a better idea. And I've give credit what credit's due. Like I'm like, hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for listening to me and being able to kind of put me in a good space, put me in the right direction. So yeah, like if someone that, hey, I this person has some good ideas, or hey, where do I start? Like just hang in there. My podcast, I'll get there with those guests. I'm working on that list, and I know I'll have good content coming through from good friends and family, and you'll learn a lot. I want to be able to make it this where you're learning. I want to be able to have that where that spark, it clicks, and you're like, what, this gave me an idea, and I want to be able to, like, all right, let's make this happen. Let's start with the basics. Then let's go with the marketing. Let's go with the content, the just everything, that I'm like, hey, this is the path that we're gonna put you through, and I know we'll get good results. And it's just a growing. One thing that I can say is that this is these ventures, like ventures, it's risky, but it's rewarding. Getting through and learning new things, getting through the hard times, and just figuring out, hey, I got this. But one thing for me is, it's like, you gotta understand, it's don't be thinking about the monetary, like, money, how much money. It's just like, hey, you're learning, and the money will come. Eventually you're gonna start having funds come in. You'll see, like, okay. And one thing for me, like, advice is just like, is putting that whatever profits you get back into your company, like putting it back into your business. And for me, like, like everything that so far as I've been doing websites, been selling my 3D prints, is I slowly was able to buy a second microphone, another arm, more batteries for my my camera, my iPad. It's things that I need, that are needed for the company. Eventually, instead of building, currently I hook it up to the monitor, but have a computer that's stationary, that I know I don't have to take my MacBook all the time, and I can just have like on this desk, like have my Mac where I can, it's all connected, right? And just be, okay, I want to work on this project. I'll be able to send it through my MacBook. If I'm going and networking or talking to clients, have my iPad ready and show them anything that they are interested in. And yeah, that's another thing too that I can say is in networking. It's been helpful. For me, it's helpful that I started my business where I can network and have these business meals, dinners, lunches, whatever it might be, because you need to network, you need to go out there, learn, and just go out there hard. It's a never ending learning process, and network is one of the big things. I've learned so much from friends. I've had other business ideas that eventually are down in the pipeline that it's gonna go ahead and get that ball rolling here in 2023. And you'll see it, that the other business venture that I see myself doing is having to do with, if someone wants to start a podcast, be like, hey, I got you. This is, where you need to start, what you need to do, video editing, and get into that, as my business grows. Of course, eventually hire someone to do the websites, help, with also myself, taking care of some of those, because I want to be able to, stay up to date on the changes, with building websites. Also, I want to be able to see what the marketing, like follow TikTok, listen to other podcasts, and listen to other people. And then I want to be able to have this production where I can go ahead and do, be helpful to someone else who wants to start that podcast, or just an audio. Some people aren't comfortable with doing videos like I am. Like, for me, it's good seeing this, having this camera and just being like, looking at it, talking to it, as I'm pretending I have a friend in front of me, and just being like, yo, like, I want to talk to you about this, and so that's kind of like the main, all this, putting it into momentum and getting it done. 2023, it's one thing I can tell you is marketing is always going to change, and everything is moving fast, So I'm excited for 2023. I'm excited to start getting these guests into the podcast, uploading this video, this audio. It's just an amazing time. So I want to be able to leave you with knowing that this is going to be helpful, and this wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have friends and families with their support, and just everyone. That I can say thank you, that has gotten me to this point. It's like I want to be my own boss, and I'm glad to be able to do this part time, eventually here soon, full time. But I want to leave you with, continue to follow, stay tuned, good stuff coming your way. All I can say, and appreciate, much love. This is the intro podcast to the Visions to Ventures by CJO Digital. And check out the Instagram and check out the Facebook, and more to come on this. I appreciate it, and thank you for your time.